Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. And somebody bought this file and they want to separate it, but they can't separate it. Well, when you click on that, you get the outside box. So I'm going to just hit delete. Now you can select these things, but these things are pieces. So this thing is only a little over 2 inches. So let's let our nudge factor to 4. And let me just show you here what I mean by pieces. And it's going to cut in a weird order. So I'm just nudging everything over. And it's kind of weird that there's a cut line in the middle. But then select all these red, don't get all the black, and there's your piece. Now the problem is you could combine this, but you're still going to have these starting and stopping points for the laser. And if you look at it right there, there's an end, 2 ends, even if you combine it. The way to get around that is take the Smart Fill tool, fill that in, nudge it over, fill that in, go ahead and fill in your block. Whoop, it already did it. So, and then take your Smart Fill tool, let's go back up to my main colors, and let's left click, no fill, right click hairline. And then double click on here and make sure yours is set on hairline. Right now the file I'm opening is not. So this will all cut, and if we look at it now under the shape tool, there's a starting point right there. There are together, but that's where the laser is going to start and stop, and then it's got on this side because it has to cut down here. So this is the starting and stopping point for this side. Of course, the little squares, nothing you can do about that. That's the starting point or ending point. Now, this is color mapped, and they're not terrible. Well, you would want to color map this, but if we hit the tab key, it's going to show you the cut order. So it's going to cut all those pretty much in order, but watch what happens now. It goes way over here and starts rastering those before it's going to come back. So it's all over the page, and then it's going to come back and get those. So what I would do is group these together. Control G, and then it'll put it all together, and then when you nudge it over. So color mapping, let's talk a little bit about that. In an epilogue print driver, black isn't one of the colors. So let's nudge this thing over. And let's take this object, and you can see it's not even true black. We've got to add a little red to it. But let's make it, and you don't have, I don't have a laser hooked up to this laptop. Let's say we're going to use that one right there. So you would pick that color, which is 146, 255, if that's one of the color mappers. And then what's going to happen, you're going to run the red at 100 power and say 5 speed on this plywood. But on the other, on the blue, you're going to run it at 100 power at 50 speeds, and it's just going to mark the tile of the roof, I guess it is. And then don't forget to delete that. Same thing on this, the bigger parts. This part has cut lines, so these two pieces will fit together. Let's just measure that. See what that distance is. 0.11. 0.125 would really be the trick. The other things are okay. Let's nudge that out of the way. You can see your crossbars are not the same. But that doesn't matter in that case. It's only the ones that have the black and white, like this chimney. Let's take the chimney and nudge out of the way. See, it's complete, but the other parts are not. They're not together. So it's not going to cut. So what I would do is select them, object, group, put them over there, make them that blue or whatever color map color. Color mapping can almost have any color, but your main color maps are, like blue, green, and yellow. And I don't have a color map hooked up to this. But then once you get all these done, you could, they've got them nested in there pretty good. You're probably not going to do any good job than that. Same thing on this little part right here. This is made up of quite a few parts. There's a straight line. You know, there's the whole thing. Let's nudge that. Let's nudge it to the left. See, it's got different lines, a bunch of different lines. So what, let me get rid of that box. That blue is just to give you an idea what size wood. Need to nudge that back. So what I would do, I'd actually smart fill this guy because of the fact, and I don't know, I guess that's two separate pieces, but if you smart fill it and then nudge it over and nudge this over, then when you take it and you left click, let me get up to the black, red, make it red. So if you left click, no fill, now this is one piece. You know, that's the kind of the problem with these files. And in this particular case, since that's going to cut twice, I'd actually separate it or do this. Let's back up here and let's take both these pieces. Let's delete this one. Let's take the, and this is a little bit of a work, but, and I would separate all these pieces pretty far apart. What you can do, let's set our nudge factor on like 1 inch. If this is basically two parts, you can take the shape tool and right click and break that apart, right click with your mouse, break apart, take your virtual segment delete line and delete that. And then when you nudge this over, it will only cut that one line. It won't cut that line twice. I don't know why they've got the two pieces sandwiched together like that. Some people think that might save time, but it's still got to cut that twice. Where here it's just going to cut. Tell you what we'll do. We'll delete everything else on the page with the exception of that cut order or that one piece. And if we look at it, you know, if we go up to Windows, Dockers, Objects, there's the two curves. And so it's going to start with that curve. I'm going to delete it. And then it's going to come back and cut the other curve. So it's only got those two curves. I truly hope that's what he was asking, and thank you for watching.